Get my head into the game. Hey, we did it! We got through another month of professional wrestling madness as the G1 Climax 31 has officially concluded. But we're not going to slow down just like New Japan Pro Wrestling never does, because all other fans in wrestling got stuff going on too, including tomorrow night where we are bound for glory. This and so much more is going to be talked about tonight on this forum as we bring you a simple final take and a predict and preview too, and wholesome open discussion as well. So hello everybody and welcome to this fun little impromptu out of nowhere ATW forum. I am of course the simple man Noah Foster with the Wrestling Encyclopedia, my co-host with the most, Casey Gallagher. Casey, first off, it's good to see you again. How are you?
Noah-san. I'm doing good. We've got ups, downs, and all arounds to talk about regarding the G1 and its final days.
Isn't that the truth? And again, folks, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend, and engage us in the chat with any questions or any thoughts or any comments you have in all things wrestling. As of course, This forum is about all things wrestling, but we got our primary topics, and of course, shout out to my ATW family on Twitter. Check out our last ATW view where we literally went all out, no pun intended, with the conversation and madness too.
I gotta call bullshit on that, Noah. No pun intended. My ass, that wasn't intended.
Well, I mean, when you start talking about pro wrestling, I guess time eludes you, and then extra guests join the fray too, and you end up with that.
Looking at you, James.
Well, James and Eric definitely contributed to that. And of course, as we talk about, please follow, of course, the Archangel James here with the ATW family and all my friends in the professional wrestling community. Nody Q, Cleaver, Carl, Andrew, the Jeff Misha Network. We might be involved in that tomorrow night too. Stay tuned. Turnbuckle Talk, and of course, FTW. With that being said, let's go ahead and talk about basically the G1 Climax final nights of action as we have both the A block and B block finally conclude. And I must say, I thought one night delivered more than the other, but not necessarily in a positive way, too. As of course, folks, there are your final scores for the entire G1 Climax 31 and your block winners, respectively. On the final night of A block action, the most unique thing I definitely saw coming out of it was the fact that Yujiro Takahashi and Shigeru Takagi double count out considered a draw. Both men got 1 point. And I was like, ugh. And in other stuff, we also had freaking Dono beat. I'm just glad he didn't win the damn thing, but stop pointing this man and bam, give it. But I digress. Not trying to be on a tangent here. We also had, of course, Zack Sabre Jr.'s G1 come to a crashing halt where he and Tonga Loa had a very hot-fought match together, and Tonga Loa out-wrestled the Submission Master for 3 seconds. Getting, I thought, his biggest win in his G1 run. And, of course, we concluded with the grand finale match of Kota Ibushi vs. Kenta, a revisit from G1 2019, where in the end it was a GTS away from Kenta winning that allowed Kota Ibushi with the victory. Quick comment here. Hey, guys, read about Ibushi's injury, and that match might be his last one in 2021. Time to it could be 6 weeks or 4 to 5 months. Your reaction on that? Well, we're going to talk about that so much more.
We will get to that, Liz. Just stay with us.
Appreciate you. So that being said, what is your biggest takeaways from the A Block finales action? Were you surprised to see Kota Ibushi win going into his 4th consecutive final? Were you pulling up for Kenta or again, it came down really to 4 men: Kota, Shingo, Zack Sabre Jr., and Kenta. Your thoughts on that night of action?
I'm not really surprised that Kota was that Kota came out with the win. He has been on fire in terms of G1 pretty much since 17, 18?
Pretty much, yeah. Again, he's won 2 in a row. He's made 4 finals in a row. Kota Ibushi's definitely been a standard bearer when it comes to G1 Climax winsmanship.
And my big surprises in A block, at least for me, were Tonga Loa and Tomohiro Ishii. Tonga Loa has been blowing all people's expectations of him out of the water since the beginning of G1 Climax 31. And to see him get 6 points, even if 2 are coming by forfeit, still feel sorry for Naito. It's definitely, for somebody who has been a tag team specialist for so many years, it's a very welcome surprise to see him be able to hold his own in singles action. And Tomohiro Ishii, I believe, tied the most points, if not scored the most points that he's ever gotten in any given G1 performance.
You are correct.
I've been pulling for him throughout this entire tournament. You, to quote Dave Niehaus, I've seen the light. I believe you, Noah.
Thank you.
He is G1 Climax MVP. I cannot gush enough about this man's performances, especially on opening night with Shingo. Good God, you talk about a mind blower of a 26-minute masterpiece.
I think, honestly, that's probably up there in my top 3 favorite matches the entire G1, and that still might be my favorite A block match overall. And again, when you look at the matches 100%. The matches that stole the G1 and which block owned the G1 more, I think I still have to give it to the A block overall, but that's a whole nother conversation. Now, your thoughts on the final match, though, Kenta and, of course, Kota Ibushi.
They brought it out, man. They came to play, and they did not disappoint. Kenta, well, a little bit of tidbit from Lady Delgado here. Apparently, 2018 was the last time Tomohiro Ishii finished in double digits, and 2016 for fucking Yano.
Yeah, well, again, Yano aside, Ishii, again, he's the guy that I always hope one day makes it to a freaking final, but I guess next year's their time. If nothing else, maybe he once again becomes the Never Weight champion, restores that gritty, hard-fought honor to this title that has always been one of my most anticipated matches for Wrestle Kingdom. But I digress. That's, of course, to come too against Switchblade Jay White. But continue your thoughts.
Yes, back to Kota and Kenta. Kenta, I believe, pulled out some stuff from his repertoire that we've not seen for a very long time. He was going deep into the playbook on the final night of A Block action to get the win over Kota. But hot damn, man, that reverse Kamigoye.
You don't see it coming, but you sure as hell feel it.
You're damn right. You may only feel it for a split second, but you damn sure feel it.
It's almost like he has to go that extra mile with the Kamigoye when the first one doesn't hit. Usually nowadays, the first Kamigoye doesn't get the win for him. It's when he drops the knee and hits them in the front face. It's very rare he actually hits them in the back of the head. He's only done this now, I think, with honestly 2 other people, and I'm even talking about outside the G1, where, of course, he did it against Tetsuya Naito. But that being said, people felt like this match had a bit of leniency too much because, of course, it was officiated by Red Shoes. And during times where both men were out of the ring at one point in the backstage area and Kenta's running back, it almost felt like 19, pause, and then the 20. People thought that at least multiple occasions here, Kenta should have got the win. Your outlook towards that?
I honestly can't disagree. Now, granted, they can probably use that going forward if and when Kenta botch. The first of many, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be honest there.
Oh yeah.
They can probably use that as a storyline fodder going forward between Kota and Kenta for whenever Kota comes back. But yeah, and honestly though, I don't really mind it that much because it's the A block finale. This determines everything for the A block in the G1 climax. You want there to be a definitive winner by, if at all possible, an honorable method. You want there to be a clean finish in the middle of the ring. And by hook or crook, we got one.
Yeah, and Kenta put out all the tricks like you have said. And resourcefulness aside, corner turnbuckle gone, and even game over a lot. And again, Kota Ibushi showing his will and ring awareness to survive submissions where you think he's going to tap out. Kota Ibushi overcame it all, and he was declared the winner. I also want to give a brief shout out, of course, to Gretel Khan, who, of course, did not have his proper G1 Climax match tonight. It's, of course, Tetsuya Naito, get well soon, was supposed to be his final opponent, but he was not available. great hard-fought fight against Satoshi Kojima, Mr. Lariato himself. But I gotta say, for Great Khan in his first G1, outscoring, I might add, Tongaloa, who was also in his first G1, I thought Great Khan was extremely impressive.
I don't know if I'd call him extremely impressive. I mean, that's just me.
Fair enough.
Ooh, wow.
Yep,
I guess Liz is going to be our Chris Sampson tonight.
Well, someone has to be. There's only so much I can do. I can't.
I mean, nothing against Liz, but is Mike Caldwell not available?
I appreciate her facts and her input.
Absolutely. I'm just saying, is the stat boy not available?
One day I gotta get her voice involved on this if she's.
Totally.
I'd love to get more people.
Absolutely.
But anyway, going back to a Great Khan, your thoughts on him? I mean, he had some really strong matches. I thought definitely the mat-based classic with Zack Sabre Jr. was obviously a standout for me. A hard-fought physical affair with Ishii and Shingo, I think, really tested Great Khan, but I don't think he really wavered in either of those matches. And
not really.
Honestly, I didn't find like a weak point or something that just seemed like out of place when it came to the way Great Khan presented himself when about his matches here in the G1. Each of his matches, he kind of applied a different strategy based on who he was facing. So overall, I thought that he was really impressive in his very first G1.
For a first G1 performance, I will give him the pat on the back, but it also showed that Great Khan still has much to learn. For all of his strengths, what this G1 showed me, Great Khan's biggest weakness as of right now is match awareness. And that's the big part of how ZSJ and all the others got their wins over him. They were able to take advantage of a lapse in concentration on Great Khan's part to be able to get the win.
To be fair, he also got busted open during a couple of those matches you mentioned, which probably did affect his concentration and equilibrium. At one point, he literally had a busted nose. We thought it was broken. But
yes,
yeah, overall, it really sucked we didn't get Tetsuya Naito in the A block. And I can only imagine what sort of matches and tranquilo type mood he's going to have upon his return too. But overall, I wasn't really dissatisfied with the A block as far as the field and the effort and even the winner. But that being said, if I could definitely see something like maybe switched out between the A block and the B block next year, take Yano out. That's all I got to say. Take Yano out. Put Brian Danielson in there. Let's open the
Take Yano out and put him in the same block as Evil.
I'll accept Yujiro again, because again, when it comes to the G1 climax and making a case for yourself to be part of this field, it's not just about what you do up towards the next G1 climax during, like, you know, the previous tour, like Summer Struggle and stuff like that. But it's also those moments you give in last year's G1. With the fact that Yujiro out the gate got the win over Yujiro Takahashi, and though he didn't beat him, he stopped the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion from winning the block as well. I think Jiro's made a case for him that he potentially could be another participant next year.
I agree. I don't really expect him to score much more than 2 or 4 points as he did here.
5 points overall.
Yes, but I will absolutely take Yujiro Takahashi in the G1 because of the surprises he can pull out of nowhere. Looking at you, Coda.
Well, yeah. All right, let's go ahead and talk now about the B block finale, as of course the B block also concluded the very following day too. And as you see, the winner of the B block was of course the Rainmaker, which I'm sure some people are still 50-50. Kazuchika Okada, and Sane's got no here. Speaking of Naito, saw a picture yesterday on Twitter of him standing in front of Nippon Budokan. No crutches were on him in the picture.
Well then.
Is he saving face, or is he just one of those guys that's just wondering? Because again, when Tetsuya Naito lost back at Wrestle Kingdom 12, he literally didn't leave the venue for 3 hours after the show concluded. When it comes to Naito, he has a very unique mindset when it comes to him as a professional wrestler. He holds himself to a very unique standard. I can only imagine how Naito felt with the fact he missed out on this entire thing. He probably already figured he was going to be at least involved in the finale.
Yeah, especially knowing Naito. Just all I can say is remember this one simple word, my friend. Hasinayo.
He's going to be involved in Wrestle Kingdom one way or another. Wrestle Kingdom is not set, in my opinion. Mark my words. But speaking of,
you were gonna have to kill Tetsuya Naito and put him in a body bag to keep him from Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, if that's possible. Speaking of which, let's go to the B block, though, as we were trying to figure out the other half. And really, this match came down to this show came down to one match, and that was the match everybody was waiting for: Jeff Cobb and Okada. But before that, not giving no disrespect to anybody else that performed that night, except one. I must say, Taiji, my gosh, man. You talk about an iron will and determination to win, overcoming the Ace. Now, truth be told, the Ace always walks in pain, so of course his knees were definitely the splitting point here. But Taiji had a blatant target on his chest, and immediately out of the gate, the pads came off, and he tried to go for the quick win, so he didn't have to try and really go the distance in this match. But Hiroshi Tanahashi, with the will that he has as well, and how deep he can go, of course, being the one that has performed the most G1 climax matches of all time. Literally, he took Taiji to the limit at one point. We had the medical staff down there, and I feel like there was a moment of sympathy and concern for everybody, besides just the lovely Mihabe at ringside for the Holy Emperor. But somehow, Taiji pulled out, and to think, this guy has been on a losing streak the last 6 matches straight. But in the end, he pulls out the win against, of all people, the Ace of New Japan, Hiroshi Tanahashi. We also, of course, saw Yoshihashi, Hiroki Goto, and also Tama Tonga and Chase Owens. They fought very hard in their last matches as well. I really don't have a whole lot of takeaways except for Chase Owens and Yoshihashi. They both were definitely going in there. I felt like more with just an instinct that I need to get this win. I need to get this freaking win. And in the end, while Yoshihashi fought damn hard, it was not enough to overcome the Crown Jewel, who ended his G1 climax, of course, with a loss after Karma hit. So kudos to the Headhunter pulling that win out. Again, not the strongest score, but it's that heart and that performance that I feel like really people are going to take away from this. But he's definitely.
You want to talk about heart and performance people are going to take away from this. Let's go back a day of B block action.
Yeah.
Tama Tonga with the upset of a lifetime.
Yes. And I was wondering how, if possible, could he ride that momentum in his final match? But it was not meant to be. As Hiroki Goto, who really had a very unique G1 this year, not one of his best, but he did end off with a win beating Tama Tonga. But as Tama Tonga said, this G1's done, but I'm not. Don't doubt my skills ever again. The good bad guy, letting you know how it is. And then, of course,
guy putting New Japan on notice.
Yeah. It makes me wonder, like we talked about earlier, these tag team specials, they've showcased what they can do now in the ultimate of the singles marathon, the G1 climax, in their respective blocks. Could we potentially see both again, maybe in the same block? Did one outperform the other, even though one had, in my opinion, the biggest moment I felt of the G1 climax in beating Okada at the mountain? Everybody holds him to that. He is that guy, the top guy, championship or not, the guy of New Japan Pro Wrestling right now, Kazuchika Okada. But again, when I look at both GOD, both ending with the same points, I might add too. If nothing else, because of Tama Tonga's key victory here. But then again, Tonga Loa, he did out wrestle Zack Sabre Jr. for 3 seconds. Could you potentially see both of these men involved in next year's G1? Do you think one deserves more than the other? Would you like to see them both in the same block? Your thoughts were quick on GLD.
I would like to see them in the same block, personally. I call me a mark. I really want that brother versus brother match.
Well, who knows you better? Who could bring the best fight out of you besides your own brother? I think the Briscoes proved that.
That's exactly why I want to see this match. What these two are going to bring out of each other. It's not, you hear it often said in behind the scenes clips, you never hit anybody harder in the ring than your friends. That's not entirely true. There's one people group. Hey, EPW, what's up, dude?
Shout out to Pro Wrestling.
Yep. There is one group of people you always hit harder in the ring than your friends, especially if they're the same gender as you. and that is your sibling.
Well, there's always going to be that lifelong rivalry. I feel like where your siblings are always going to have envy towards you. You're going to have envy towards them. You could call countless examples of this professional wrestling, from the Hardys to the Harts to, like I just said, the Briscoes. You freaking name it. Just showing yo. To that being said, Sonata, Evil, I don't have much to say. Evil did not deserve that 14 freaking points. Give Dick Togo the points. Evil freaking just irked me throughout this entire G1. Every match, the same damn blueprint and formula. Reverse turnbuckle, lose the turnbuckle pad. Low blow. Get the ref distracted or knocked out. Attack Abe-san on the ring announcer table. Truth be told, I feel like Sonata, he knew almost every trick in Evil's books because, again, these two knew each other so well. And Sonata was the one to beat Evil last year on the final day, denying entry to the finals. Evil already
at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yes, Evil already eliminated. He was basically out here, I feel like, just to rub salt in Sonata's wound because Sonata had no chance of getting to the final this year. And Evil got his freaking win back with a hello, chair to the face, and everything is evil. Damn it. With 14 points, unfortunately, I can almost guarantee that he's probably going to be in next year's G1.
Yep. But the question becomes... Thank you, EPW. Thank you, EPW.
Yeah, he pretty much nailed that.
Yes, he absolutely nailed that. And from a booker's perspective, everything you're talking about is exactly what Evil wants out of you. So that in mind, I personally believe Evil is doing his job and doing it very well. That being said, as I was originally about to say, the question becomes, we're probably going to see Evil in next year's G1. Does Show join him?
I've been saying Show is the heavyweight of the junior weight division, just peaking this much before he becomes actual heavyweight. I feel his performance in this year's Best Super Juniors will better tell the tale because it's the first time now he's part of the freaking House of Torture.
Yes.
LAJ Evil, better than HOT Evil. Still can't believe he tried to walk out of his last block match. Shingo said it best. He's crazy. I mean, losing enough times and not reaching that next echelon of your career probably does drive a wrestler insane. Maddie Wazowski's going for a complete character morph. I have no idea what she's about to do.
Yeah. Sonata's a future IWGP World Champion. I'm right there with you, dude. I am absolutely right there with you.
We keep holding out for Cold Skull. We want to see it happen, but I just don't know. He had the chance earlier this year when he took on Kota Ibushi. He had the chance last year to be part of the main event of Wrestle Kingdom when he was part of the finale. Sonata's the one we want to see become a champion, but I just don't know.
What I can tell you is that the New Japan bookers, which is who? Ghetto and who else?
Yeah, Ghetto and I forget the name. That poor one names.
They know how badly we want to see Sonata get the title. So I guarantee you they're doing the slowest of burns to get the Daniel Bryan level pop that they want for this title change to put it on Sonata. Whenever it finally happens.
Or Bryan Danielson, just saying.
That's going to be that's going to take a bit for me to get used to because I'm so used to calling him Daniel Bryan.
I'm not. I knew about the American Dragon before I went to WWE, and I was waiting for that to show up. Didn't show up that well. Going off topic. Didn't show up becoming the new Daniel Bryan, but I digress. Show to me heavy favorite to win Best Super Junior this year, and I definitely agree.
As do I. Now, you're talking about Show being the heavyweight of the junior heavyweight division.
Yes.
Would you say he's in the same position that Shingo was in a year or two ago?
I would say so, except for one difference. It was Shingo's New Japan debut, and he literally ran the table. What the difference is about Show, though, he literally has been involved in New Japan and Chaos before he became this type of show for years now and has never won the Best of Super Juniors. But he is a multi-time Super Junior World Tag League champion with his former partner, Yo. But maybe with this new chip on his shoulder, he's showcasing an attitude, because when we get to the finale, we'll talk about the trios match. He might be able to channel enough ruthless nature to actually pull the win out because he might be able to take Evil's playbook, which would kind of suck. Elizabeth said, from what I read on social media, Dick Togo is also one of the bookers.
Oh, well, that explains a lot.
Hey, gets paid good, too. That being said, Let's go ahead and talk about, of course, the B block final match. Again, Jeff Cobb made incredible history. He went literally 8-0 before Okada got the victory here and did the same thing. He was this close to being the first one in this type deep of a field to literally run the block and win it. What an incredible match, though. Literally both men, counter for counter, back and forth. 4 or 3 times they were going for Rainmaker Tour of the Islands, Rainmaker Tour of the Islands. But that ridiculous freaking tombstone holds Okada up and does it a second time. What the hell are you, Jeff Cobb?
Jeff Cobb is a unit.
Imperial unit by name. And then, of course, we saw off the top rope when Okada countered a Jeff Cobb power move and formed it into a DDT. These men pulled all the stops and so much more. But in the end, the Rainmaker finally hit after multiple attempts of the money clip. And Okada did pull out the victory against Jeff Cobb, winning his first block literally in 7 years. Talk about a high-pressure situation for both men, but a hell of a way to finish out the B block. Your thoughts on that match?
I have to put this in perspective. Jeff Cobb, nearly unstoppable. That's probably the best way I can put it. Yeah. But you mentioned the money clip. I am a huge fan of the way Okada is using it these days. It seems at points like he's relying on it a bit too much, but he's mainly using it as a setup move for the Rainmaker more than anything else, which is all it ever should have been in the first place.
Yeah, before we do pass out.
Yeah, yes. Now, Jeff Cobb is a beast. Exactly. Thank you. Now, remind me who it was that he tapped out with the money clip during the G1?
And he tapped out during the money clip. It was literally the man you were talking about where he added the variation to the money clip, and that was Chase Owens.
Yes. And that was mainly because he saw an opportunity and pounced on it.
Okada always trying to test himself with how he can win. Again, the money clip for the longest time, he felt like, okay, I needed this, but it was really a wake-up call in the opening match with Tanahashi, this G1, that's like, okay, I need to start literally being that Rainmaker, bring the Rainmaker back, so I'm going to have a chance to finally win a G1 again. Keyword chance. And he's clinched his chance here, beating Jeff Cobb with it.
Well, beating Jeff Cobb with the Rainmaker, but the money clip, but he's finally found the proper place for the money clip, and that's just another tool in his, now it's just another tool in his massive arsenal. The comment, dude.
I just want to show what Cobb literally garnered, and that was a perspective and respect, and I totally agree. But that being said, keep in mind, he also beat the IWGP United States champion. I think Tanahashi's got a lot of competition coming up in his future for that belt. Tanahashi has rough losses here.
That's very true. The loss to Okada is not going to hurt Jeff Cobb that badly.
No.
He's got so much opportunity in front of him now, thanks to this performance in the G1. And we were talking about Sonata being a future IWGP World Champion. With Jeff Cobb, it's literally only a matter of time.
It's gotta be at this point. It's gotta be. About the U.S. title. Okay, go ahead. Before I simply say this, as we determine what our final was, let's go into the night of the finale. I just want to give a quick shout real quick to those that performed on the B Block finale too. Jam Project, literally that Max the Match song, that's going to be stuck in my head probably till Wrestle Kingdom, where I know they're going to have a ridiculously catchy theme stuck in my head again. I seriously enjoyed that theme at Max the Max, and it was awesome seeing them perform live. Thank you again for their contribution.
Now, if only they'd done Chala Head Chala.
Well, again, one can dream.
Yeah.
That being said, I do also see this, and we'll definitely talk about this too. I think many of us can agree on that, as I literally got the lapel pin right in front of me and I look at it. And we're definitely going to talk more about that because I don't know if we're necessarily getting it back, but we might see it based on what happened at the
IWGP V4.
Version 4, the title that Kota Ibushi retired. But that being said, before we get there, let's talk about the finale. Of course, it had tag team showcasing galore. And really, the biggest takeaways I saw, we might have our next trios opponents. And as we talked about the U.S. title, we might know who's going after the U.S. title next. Chase take that back. Kenta, who Kenta said, I get first shot, you get next. Chase was like, okay, fine. And according to a shot I saw on Twitter, as Sandy just alluded to about the U.S. title, Kenta total thief. Because as we saw, it was the Bullet Club team during this match that got the better of the U.S. champ and company. And Kenta, he's been going after that U.S. title since who knows when. Back when he won the freaking American Cup and had that briefcase, came this close to dethroning Jon Moxley. And in my opinion, the U.S. title literally is just something waiting for Kenta to claim.
Agreed. And whenever that match takes place, I suspect it'll be during Power Struggle, because during World Tag League Best of Super Juniors, New Japan usually likes to focus on those two divisions. So we will probably not see a whole lot of straight singles competition outside of the junior heavyweight division until after Best of the Super Juniors finale.
Possibly. We also saw during this finale how the House of Torture all together overcame the best trios ever to hold the six-man heavyweight titles in Tomohiro Ishii, Yoshihashi, and Hiroki Goto. And they have now made their claim. This Bullet Club formation wants to go after the six-man heavyweight gold. I do not want to see Evil with this damn title.
I suspect we might be about to, though, because keep in mind, Goto, Yoshihashi, and Ishii have had a long reign with these titles.
10 victories. 10 freaking
It's 10? It's 10? I thought it was just 9.
It might be 9. I might just be spoiling, but bottom line, yeah, they have the most. They literally have owned and made these titles like the second thing to go to in New Japan Pro Wrestling. More so now choice than anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
So I personally am looking to see a changing of the guard at some point between now and Wrestle Kingdom.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that as we talk about Wrestle Kingdom, changing of the guard. Let's talk about the moment that made the whole internet go, holy shit. And I'm going to let you basically talk about this as I simply bring this up. Gee, I wonder why she mentioned this. Casey, take it away. Oh my. Yeah, Chris Charlton wasn't the only one losing his shit that night.
No, indeed. In the immortal words of Robin Williams, what year is it?
Last I checked, it was 2021, but
we apparently turned back the clock to 2017. Zack Sabre Jr. went 5 minutes in a UWF Rules exhibition with the wrestler himself, Katsuyori goddamn Shibata.
I have no words. And neither did Zack Sabre Jr. because what I was wondering about is Zack Sabre Jr., he was my pick to win the A block. Came so close. He's also one half of the IWGP World Tag Team Champions. But not only did he lose his block, his partner definitely needs to get those ribs looked at, might be out for a little bit. It might be good to know that the tag league isn't coming up right now. They have some time to just rest and let those towels just linger. But Sassy Jr. comes out in wrestling apparel and like, wait, he does have a match tonight. And I'm just, okay, he's in the corner. And then all of a sudden I hear the music. I see the man in the black trunks. I'm like, what in the holy hell is about to happen here? We get the ref and we get a 5-minute moment of professional wrestling heaven with Shibata going at it, move for move, technician-wise, with freaking Zack Sabre Jr. logging in that sleeper and that clutch for the clock to expire. I didn't want the 5 fucking minutes to end. And
nor
then
did I. And the best part is, nor did the competitors.
Nor did Chris Charlton, nor did that crowd. I know the crowd's supposed to not be audible. How can you not be fucking audible when you got Katsuyori Shibata coming back when you probably would never see him wrestle again, let alone for 5 minutes? And, might I add, afterwards, the sign of respect, Shibata took the mic and simply said, the next time you see me, key words, next time you see me in the ring, it will be during
in a match.
A match.
And you know, and I'm paraphrasing here, And you know damn well, and you better damn well believe there will be a next time.
4 years.
I about shat myself through the roof.
I think Chris Charlton might have strained a vocal cord during this moment in time. I still can't believe.
And the best part is they got the perfect ref. Marty Asami has an extensive amateur wrestling background.
That's
you
right.
want a guy like him for this kind of exhibition.
And again, it was an exhibition, but the fact you could tell so much and tease so much and bring so much in 5 freaking minutes. Unbelievable.
Count him! 5 minutes!
Oh, I was listening to Abe-san, trust me. The bottom line is this. Things are about to change forever in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yes.
If a wrestler comes back into play towards the gold, and the fact we got this shared human professional wrestling, imagine who we could see the wrestler face coming up. Jonathan Gresham, Bryan Danielson, just to name 2.
And I think Liz was on the right track with Kenta. I feel like that's what they're going to be going for because remember, Katsuyori Shibata brought Kenta into New Japan in the first place. And when Kenta joined Bullet Club, Shibata was bullshit. So you know they've got some unfinished business to settle now that Shibata has turned back the clock 4 years and officially declared his intent to return to the ring. If nothing else, this 5-minute spectacle was a perfect example of the triumph of professional wrestling.
Praise you, brother. And might I add, as you alluded to 2 years ago at the Nippon Budokan, was where Kenta betrayed Shibata and drop kicked him in the corner. So again, all the callbacks here, and I'm just like, oh my God. But I digress. Suspension of disbelief. Wait and see till next time. A 3-day Wrestle Kingdom. I would not count out Katsuyori Shibata being not involved in it.
Exactly.
But
what a time to be alive.
Yeah, but like I said, this finale night of the G1 Climax 31 brought all the emotions out, including what became our G1 Climax 31 G1 finale match between Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada and the Golden Star Kota Ibushi. No time limit. I was expecting these two to literally go all night, but
we'll get to that. We will get to that.
Before we get to that point, let's talk a little bit about the match, though. Again, both these men, they were starting slow, trying to challenge each other, control one another. At one point, literally, it was Okada that grounded Ibushi, including a DDT on the floor. Man, it still sounds bad on padding. At one point, Kota Ibushi got the better of Okada with that ridiculous sit-out last ride powerbomb for a near fall. Both men were going good shots early here. Okada tried the Rainmaker. Ibushi was like, no, not letting that happen, not letting that happen. At one point, reversing. Again, there were so many callbacks to Wrestle Kingdom. We got that ridiculous lariat by Kota Ibushi as Okada was trying to go for the spinning Rainmaker at one point. And it was really down the stretch at this point where he got with a high kick and he had Okada bubble stick. He finally hit the Kamigoye. 2 count. Because again, it was the basic Kamigoye. And that's when you knew Kota Ibushi crossed the knee pad. He knew how to go to another level.
Yep, what you know exactly what he's going for.
What I didn't expect was him to go this early because, again, this match was not even as deep at this point as the match at Wrestle Kingdom was. But they already reached that point with their in-ring just conflict because, again, these two knew each other so well. But as he goes to the top rope, the Fingers May Rise. Unfortunately, Wrestle Kingdom repeated itself again where the Phoenix Splash was a crash, but unfortunately, this crash was the end game of our G1. Casey, take it away. Because as we will talk about, that we learned about in the press conference, but
Kota Ibushi landed horrifically.
I saw that too. I was like, someone didn't seem right.
Now, regardless of what we've heard about Ibushi's condition, it's going to take a man with a lot more knowledge than both of us put together to look at this and be able to tell us, okay, this is legit, or okay, this is part of a kayfabe story build for when Kota and Okada do this again. Because you know damn well, as Okada said in his post-victory speech, you know damn well, it's another case of you know damn well there will be a next time.
Okada wanted it. The crowd wanted it. Everybody wanted it. I mean, literally, time stopped. Time stood still for I think 10 minutes.
I don't think I breathed for like 30 seconds.
I was just watching on. And I just saw like red shoes, and then all of a sudden I hear wait, what? Ref stoppage. And Okada's just looking off in the corner because you know Okada did not want this to end like this. You know Okada didn't want to win like this. Nobody wanted to see an ending like this. No matter how you feel about either of your two finalists here versus having a first time ever with people like Jeff Cobb, Zack Sabre Jr., Shingo, you name it. But that being said, Young Lions, the referee, medical staff, Okada, they all chipped in Kota Ibushi. And Kota being as crazy as Cesaro, I could fight with one arm, but again, at the end of the day, our passion must be put second because the health and safety of the professional wrestlers is what matters the most. And Ibushi, sorry, man, you just can't allow it, just can't do it. And so via ref stoppage, it was literally determined Okada is your winner of G1 Climax 31. Time froze for me that day. Didn't move again until 12 that day. Yeah, basically 4 hours after this thing ended. I completely agree. As again, it really was hard to go from that feeling, that standpoint, that presentation even of, okay, the match is over, the G1's over, we got a winner like this, as Okada was presented, of course, with the flag, garnering the winners again. Okada winning his third G1 Climax, I might add, and literally winning the G1 after 7 years. Congratulations to the Rainmaker. And as you alluded to, he basically garnered Kota Ibushi incredible respect. We will definitely do this again, but now he has to look forward towards Wrestle Kingdom and hopes to make it rain as champion once again. And that was the way we concluded this year's G1. But as you subtly alluded to, we obviously were not done with everything to be spoken about there. Before we talk more about that, let's see here. Last time he had this type of injury was 2010 Best Super Junior Finals, was out until I believe October of that same year. Considering when the Best Super Juniors took place during that time, which of course was the spring season, that's definitely a few months. So again, the Wrestle Kingdom future could be looking a bit questionable for this man.
Yeah.
More so for him than Naito, and that's saying something.
That is absolutely saying something. Can I just say really quick?
Go for it.
I shot this to you on a Facebook voice message. An incredible display this entire night. An incredible display of the triumph, beauty, and tragedy of professional wrestling. G1 Climax 31 ends the same way it began, which in this case is not necessarily a good thing.
No, but unfortunately, you can't rewrite the past. You can only create, hopefully, a brighter and better future. And Okada plans to try and do that. As again, folks, there you have it. The Rainmakers, once again, your G1 Climax victor. Casey, you have a thought.
You mentioned that now he's looking forward to Wrestle Kingdom.
Yes.
Please, for the love of God, Okada, don't look past Power Struggle.
I don't think he's going to, because let's go ahead and briefly talk about the 8-minute post-press conference we had. First off, Chairman Shigebayashi, he, of course, thanked all the fans and thanked everybody for being with them during this last month especially, but during the entire way they've handled the pandemic. I like to especially thank New Japan Pro Wrestling for the way they've handled this in the name of safety and well-being for all involved here in and out of the ring and around the areas. We learned that going forward, you like these, maybe people have come to use to like these shorter cards. Guess what? They're about to stop. They're going to start adding more matches to the cards to bring forward as many athletes in New Japan Pro Wrestling as possible. All your favorites and so much more. So get ready to endure, folks. They're going back to a bit more normal schemes, but still the audience will not be able to use their voices. They will have to, well, we know they're going to still try to. They have to, of course, rely on physical, like, interaction, of course, with their clapping and stomping about how they feel about subbing. I'm not sure how you boo a clap or a stomp. Maybe you stay silent. I don't know. But you know who I mean.
I would probably stay silent. That's what Kevin and Chris were alluding to.
Well, to be fair, Kevin was just lambasting evil based on these shenanigans. So I don't blame him one bit. We also found out how Okada wants to interpret his road to Wrestle Kingdom or his current status right now as the winner of the G1. He doesn't want to be known as the G1 Climax winner. He more so wants to be known as G1 champion. And his physical interpretation of that, he doesn't want it to be the briefcase. He wants it to be the IWGP Heavyweight Championship that Kota Ibushi retired solely because he wants to face Kota Ibushi while he's holding that because he wants to face Kota Ibushi again. What I find interesting about this is the fact that Kota Ibushi and Okada met for this title last year at Wrestle Kingdom, and Kota Ibushi was the one that won this Intercontinental this year at Wrestle Kingdom. Okada nowhere near involved. So is Okada trying to prove something to Ibushi or test Ibushi in a way? Or is Okada right now more so just trying to bring forward what defined him to still go forward in New Japan today? I mean, this is way different than Moose holding the old TNA Heavyweight Championship and calling himself a champion and having that be legalized as a championship, which now that is literally fully retired. But I got to say, this is an interesting circumstance and proposal as Chairman Shibayashi heard this and said it will take under further consideration that Okada wants to do. Don't give me a briefcase with a contract. Let me hold this title. Let it represent the same stakes. But let me have this so that way I have this when I face Ibushi again. He was more so acknowledging the fact he wants to face Ibushi again and looking past Shingo as champion and with that title. It's almost like Shingo and that title is literally irrelevant. Your thoughts on this stance by Okada?
I'm of two minds. You don't want to make your current world champion look irrelevant because whether or not you agree with it, that is your top star. That is the face of your company right now. That being said, I'm absolutely behind the idea of replacing a briefcase with a title belt to give the G1 Climax victor that much more significance and meaning. And with a very slight tweak to the classic IWGP World Heavyweight Championship front plate, it can very easily be done.
I mean, yeah, I suppose that's true. Okada also said he did my briefcase theater, so apparently he's okay with both. Well, that makes sense, but I guess he just wants this more so because, again, he doesn't want to be called the IWGP like D4 champion or anything like that. He wants to just be known as the G1 champion. He wants to look at himself as the guy that everybody should want to challenge, and he's the guy you want to go after, not Shingo. Again, a lot of his post-match thoughts in conference left out Shingo and the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Just saying. Speaking of which, as she brings this up, interestingly, we never found out who Shingo's next challenger was. Hope we find out on Sunday. Again, as I said, neither G1 Climax winner, or in this case, G1 Climax champion, or the IWGP World Heavyweight champion, in this case, themselves do not have a free ride to Wrestle Kingdom. As we immediately found out after the finale match, we found out Okada's only blemish wants to go back after the Rainmaker again and solidify his destiny to be a main eventer at Wrestle Kingdom. Tama Tonga and Okada says, okay, fine. So again, Tama Tonga trial by fire. He did it once. Can he do it twice? It's not unthinkable.
No, it's not. But it's very, very rare for lightning to strike twice in the same place.
That being said, we also don't know who, has Sandy alluded to, who Shingo is going to challenge. And we all know Shingo had multiple losses again during his G1. He lost, of course, to, let me see if I get these names right here. He lost to Zack Sabre Jr. and the man out right now, Ibushi. Technically, he did lost to Yujiro, but that's kind of wouldn't count that. But I think Zack Sabre Jr. literally has a case to challenge for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship.
He does. I would absolutely agree that he does.
With the collapsed schedule too, because again, you have literally less than 3 months to Wrestle Kingdom 16, the biggest Wrestle Kingdom ever in professional wrestling history. Good God Almighty! I think literally we have the last test for both champion and G1 champion awaiting them. The thing I just wonder though is we have not heard a word yet on Shingo Takagi about his thoughts towards Okada's like stance on the fact that now this is what awaits him at Wrestle Kingdom. And again, Shingo and the IWGP Heavyweight title right now, it's almost like it feels like second priority to Okada. He just wants to go after Ibushi again as the champion, I suppose, but maybe not as the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. I just don't know. Right now, things in New Japan, the world title picture, extremely weird.
Yes, very weird and very much up in the air. All I can tell you is stay tuned any way you can, because we've got a lot of fog to clear before Wrestle Kingdom approaches. I also have this one thought.
Go for it.
The pandemic and the Olympics have kind of squashed New Japan's schedule for the past year, 2, maybe 3.
Give or take.
Come 2022, do you think things finally separate and unclench a bit?
Well, again, I think that all comes down to how the world, not the world, I might add, how the world handles the pandemic. Because again, we still are living through a pandemic, which has changed the everyday lifestyle of all things in life, period. While some countries are handling it much better now with less restrictions, there still is that sense of concern and that sense of safety that has to be put forth first. So unless everybody in the world is on the same page, I just don't necessarily see that happening. From whom I follow social media, Shingo was not happy about Okada's comments, talk about it in commentary. I figured that he did, but again, I don't recognize Japanese. My friend Tracy Dar Work does, though. I probably should have got her to try and translate. And I'm sure Chris Charlton will definitely have a sit down or some sort of interview at one point with Shingo, too. I imagine Shingo's going to voice himself in front of everybody about this, because again, he is the champion. NJPW and NWA were hurt most by the pandemic, without a doubt. But NJPW, they're doing what they can. The NWA has really redefined themselves, I feel like, this season, especially with their women's division. And that's all I got to say briefly about that. Your thoughts regarding this statement or anything else regarding professional wrestling affected by the pandemic, Casey?
I just hope we've turned a corner and we can and we can start the climb back up to where we were sooner rather than later.
Yeah, you and me both, brother. Again, I just wish everybody just take care of yourselves, take care of your families, be wise. Don't let nothing be forced on you, but be very conscious about yourself and your well-being too. And again,
please, for the love of God, do not take anyone you love or anything that's going on in this world for granted.
That's good. All JR says.
Because tomorrow is never guaranteed.
And prayers to JR about his condition.
After that, after Jan, and after Dusty Rhodes, if you don't believe that, I don't know what I'm going to do for you.
Well, again, some people literally live under a rock, but that's just the world we live in. And shout out to the cons. That being said, folks, that is our final retort towards everything the G1 Climax had to offer this year. We again did survive another month-long marathon. It was a wild time, and I'm very curious what awaits us in Power Struggle, the Best Super Juniors, the World Tag League, and of course, the Road to Tokyo Dome, as that's all that's left before we get to Wrestle Kingdom 16. But overall, Casey, in closing, I thought this G1 again was once again very promising. It delivered on all fronts, great classics. We had breakout moments and shockers. And I feel like this G1 overall, once again, satisfied me as a professional wrestling fan. Your final take.
I agree, all things considered. I do wish we had gotten the full match, a full and proper finish out of the finale. But man, you talk about peaks and valleys. If you're looking for a roller coaster ride, you're going to be hard pressed to find a better G1 than this.
Yeah. Ooh. One more thing, Jay Weber's termination from Never title San Jose on 13th. That is correct, and I am rooting for the Stone Pit Bull because I feel like the Neverweight title has lost its identity since Tanahashi even won it off Shingo. I miss that rugged, grit your teeth style, strong. I can't get my words right. You know what I'm talking about. It's friggin' Japanese strong style. That's the never openweight title. What it should be. Moose, Ishii, Suzuki. I want those type of people to be back in this picture. And Ishii to me is the personification of a never openweight champion. I still go back and rewatch Ishii versus Shibata at Wrestle Kingdom. Going off a tangent, but before we move into our other topic of this wrestling promotion platform, Casey, your thoughts on never weight title and this match.
It's going to be a good one, boys and girls. Mark your calendars.
And watch out for New Japan of America, because, again, they are moving forward with Will Ospreay building his United Empire. And, of course, Filthy Tom Lawler still being the strong openweight champion. Again, we're going to have to wait and see. Saturday night on NJPWWorld.com, 8 p.m. Standard Time.
The king of sports streaming.
Yep. Hello, Kevin Kelly. That being said, we do have, of course, one more big thing to talk about that's going to definitely consume a lot of great time. As this weekend, we are bound for glory as Impact Wrestling represents their premier pay-per-view of the year, Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory. And once again, it is a stacked card, and everybody's invited in this shared wrestling universe. So with that being said, let's go ahead and preview and predict Bound for Glory for a little bit. And of course,
can I just say really quick?
Can
I just say really quick? This will be the first Bound for Glory I have ever watched live.
Really?
Yeah.
Good on you, man. I'm proud of you. And again, tomorrow night, folks, we might be back with you to do live reactions. Stay tuned. Very Pro Wrestling, of course. Yes, that's the excitement I love to see. And of course, you can see it's available on pay-per-view, Fight TV. Get some references from your friends. Of course, I bought it. It's $40, but you best be ready to endure because it literally starts after AEW Dynamite. What a Saturday night professional wrestling ahead for us. Good grief almighty. I'm going to need a lot
on Saturday night, huh?
I mean, usually Saturday nights, I just sleep. This gives me purpose. That being said, let's go ahead and talk about this show. The first thing we'll talk about is, of course, the X Division that always tries to steal the show and has always been a standout for Impact Wrestling. Before we go into that, let's get some excitement and thoughts. I cannot wait to see Josh Alexander and Christian Cage. You and me both. Two of Canadians' finest. Both men, similar identities, chip on their shoulders, tag team specialists trying to stand out as top singles champions. They're going to go at it and bring it all. What started as subtle respect has become truly a contest about who is the best. This isn't about outworking everyone. This isn't about being the most dangerous. This is about who wants it more, and that's what we're going to find out. But before we get there, we need a new face of the X Division as Josh Alexander cashed in option C, which brings us here. A triple threat to crown the next X Division champion. It is Steve Macklin versus ELP, representing Bullet Club. And, of course, my hometown boy, representing Toledo, Ohio, Trey Miguel. As we saw this past week in Impact Wrestling, we saw Trey Miguel take it with the sauce, and a top rope meteoric gave him the victory, but he was not the last man standing, as Macklin brought forth Mayhem, and ELP brought forth Bullet Club. ELP with that super kick, and, of course, low blow, he stands tall. So here's the thing, triple threat. There are no disqualifications. Will Bullet Club be the difference maker here? Will Mayhem prevail here? Or will Trey Miguel finally fly high and hard enough to become the champion? Casey, your thoughts on this match and your pick?
Going to be a hot opener, especially if this is the opener. I'm not sure who is going to win here. The only thing I feel that I can reliably predict is a new X Division champion.
You. Well, don't worry. I'll have a form that will force you. And stay tuned, folks, on my Twitter at Imposter1916. I will have a form for you, giving you a chance to let your boys' opinions be heard and have a fun predictions game for Impact Wrestling's Bound for Glory. So support Impact Wrestling. That being said, looking at this trio here, I mean, I'm always going to root for my hometown boy. In my opinion, he is an uncrowned X Division champion. People could say the same thing, though, about El Fantasmo, who, again, despite his attitude, he's won the Super J Cup. He has yet to win the Best of Super Juniors, has yet to win the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, had a chance to win the X Division Championship earlier this year against Josh Alexander under Siege, came up short. And then Steve Macklin, he's just been downright aggressive and impressive. But the thing about the X Division, there is no limits. Any identity and any wrestler could hold this title. All three of these men are winning count out. but I'm simply going to go with my hometown boy here, current double champion, I might add. I think he's still champion of Warriors Wrestling. I'm going with Trey Miguel. That's all I got to say about that. Moving on from there, we go into a unique tag team scenario. Will the family come back together? And if so, how? As Heath tries to bring back Uncle Rhino, to the family, but Violent by Design are out to make an example and once again rehabilitate Rhino, who joined Violent by Design, but kind of has been like the dark horse in the family, the tough love, and they gave him a chance, and now it's like, I don't know which way this is going to go. So will Heath and Rhino come together? Will Heath have a mystery partner, or is this all just by design? Violent by Design. Your thoughts on this tag match?
I honestly think both sides are right. I feel like Rhino is going to finally decide that he's had enough of Eric Young and remind me of this other guy's name?
Diener and Joe Doyne.
Thank you. And the family, I feel like, will be reformed on the biggest stage that Impact has to offer. So we will get at least a little bit of happiness, but I feel like Violent by Design is going to take this.
Okay, I think that's fair. As we did see on Impact Wrestling, Heath tried to call Rhino back, but Violent by Design, they once again made an example of this world doesn't belong to them, it belongs to us, beating the daylights out of Heath and dropping him, of course, with the flag and laying the flag over his fallen body. So, again, this is one of those matches where we'll have to wait and see, as this was the whole reason Heath came into Impact Wrestling in the first place. It was through Rhino that Heath Slater even got a chance. So, again, I don't know, but this one, from a story standpoint, has been a bit intrigued. Moving on from there, we go into Triple Threat Tag Team Championship action as the Impact Tag Team titles are on the line as the Good Brothers defend against both Finjuice and the Bullet Club's Chris Bay and Hikuleo. As we saw, it was Bullet Club and Finjuice facing off in a great competitive opener this week on Impact, but controversy aside, double falls here. As we heard backstage, as Juice Robinson came in his case, I schoolboyed your ass! I was laughing. But Scott DeMarce was going to have a decision by the night, and I kind of saw the writing on the wall based on that backstage interaction that this was going to turn into a triple threat. We all know that Finjuice has been the Good Brothers before. They literally beat the Good Brothers in their Impact debut for these titles. And ever since Chris Bay and Hikuleo have basically brought Bullet Club into Impact Wrestling, they made Finjuice's lives a living hell. Especially Hikuleo, who has a personal vendetta, I feel like, against Juice Robinson, for those that have been watching NWW Strong, and their wild, crazy matches. And, of course, Chris Bay and David Finlay, they've been going at it, too, because, honestly, I feel like Chris Bay was brought to Bullet Club on behalf of Jay White with one agenda, and that was to weaken or take out David Finlay ahead of what had Resurgence, which apparently worked because Jay White did successfully defend the Neverweight title. So, here we go. So, Casey, on Saturday, does the Bullet Club get the Impact Tag Team gold? Does Finjuice get to go back, or does the Good Brothers once again continue to have a stranglehold on this division? Your thoughts on this match?
It's gonna be a clusterfuck and a half. Although that's just me stating the obvious, which is pretty much all I'm good for. So
that's all right.
But if I've got the pencil, I'm giving this one to Finjuice.
Really, Finjuice? Do you see them pinning the champs again, or do you see them pinning the Bullet Club? Remember, the champs do not be involved in the decision to lose the titles.
Exactly, and if it's me, I see them pinning the Bullet Club.
All right. Well, I look at it like this. I look at the tag team division. Willie Mack and Rich Swann, they were going at it for a moment. They came up short. The Good Brothers, they took on Violent by Design and Ba and Jose and everybody galore at Bound for Glory. They came out and got the gold back. And honestly, the only one-on-one tag team scenario I've yet to see is Violent by Design and the Good Brothers, who, of course, the Good Brothers picked up in multiple tag team action to get the titles back by pinning Rhino, of course, from Violent by Design. So it's one of those things where I look at the tag team division. They've basically beaten everybody except Violent by Design in a standard tag team match. And maybe that's the match to come if they retain the titles. But other than that, again, you got a new duo in Hikuleo and Chris Bay that are trying to take over Impact Wrestling. FinJuice, former Impact Tag Team Champions, and the World Tag League coming up. It would not surprise me if FinJuice is involved in it. Former World Tag League champions themselves, falling out to GLD in last year's, but beating GLD at this year's Wrestle Kingdom for the Tag Gold, or last year, excuse me. So that being said, looking at this match and looking at the fact Good Brothers are telling in the Super Elite, AEW, crossover, etc., blah, blah, blah. Young Bucks aren't the champs. I feel like the Good Brothers, I feel like Bullet Club is going to get the better of them, actually. I'm actually going to go with the Bullet Club here. Plus, Bay, in my opinion, he is just destined to be a champion. And again, Bay is Impact Wrestling. So I'm going with the Bullet Club. All right. Moving on from there is one of my favorites, the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. A 20 participant, because it's intergender at times, Battle Royale, where the winner will literally get to call their shot for any title they want, anytime within 1 calendar year. The only things we know for certain is that one person is going to come in at number 1, and that is Bill Sabin, Chris Sabin. My God, this dude is underrated. And number 20, though, belongs to W. Morrissey after a crazy preview of an over-the-top rope battle royal. On Impact Wrestling last week gave Morrissey this advantage. That being said, Casey, your thoughts on the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. Who do you think needs to win it? And honestly, who do you think might show up?
You're throwing me into the deep end here. I haven't been able to keep up with Impact and its goings on. I've been busier than a bastard.
Yeah, I'm crazy.
You're in good company then. All right. I feel like who needs it the most? Chris Sabin is getting up there, so he probably doesn't need this. His legacy is already set thanks to Alex Shelley. If anybody needs to win this, I feel like it will probably end up being either Morrissey or somebody from the X Division.
Oh, X Division, huh? Okay. Now, remember, Bound for Glory, everybody's invited. AAA, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Bullet Club, AEW. Who do you want to see maybe surprise you as a participant in this Call Your Shot Gauntlet? This, I imagine, he said there's going to be several surprises. I imagine this gauntlet's going to have some sort of surprise or two.
Yeah. My 2 big surprise entrants that I want, and you're going to get a kick out of this, are Genocide and Psycho Clown.
Oh, okay. Genocide, I feel, will do incredible work in the Knockouts division. And Psycho Clown, AAA, no stranger. Psycho Clown is pretty much insane. I wouldn't mind seeing him and freaking Laredo Kid maybe go at it at one point. When you think about who I think should win this, though, I keep thinking about one person that's an uncrowned world champion. And I also saw him on the vignette. My pick to win this, actually, is the guy that Morrissey has formed an impromptu alliance, but they both know they're going to betray each other eventually. And I think it happens here. My pick to win this is Moose.
I could see it.
Again, Moose is a guy that has literally proven to be a 5-tool athlete like he says, and I feel like he deserves to be a world champion, okay? I still go back and watch Ishii versus him at Resurgence. But honestly, Moose probably my key pick for the men. As far as the women, I like your surprise of Genocide. I wouldn't mind seeing Genocide or someone like Kenzie Page or maybe involved in this. We might get Lady Frost back here. But you found out about the Knockouts division, who could be challenging the Knockouts champ next. Well, I already know that.
Or think about this one for a second. Mayo Itami.
Again, she is a Stardom queen and a former Women of Honor world champion in Ring of Honor. And she, in my opinion, is the ace of Stardom, like Tanahashi's the ace of New Japan. But again, we're going to have to wait and see. And other participants, the women's primary, you got Madman Fulton, you got Ace Austin. You're going to probably have You're going to have like everybody galore on the Impact roster and so much more. And as far as like, outside influence, you mentioned AAA. As far as AEW, I wouldn't mind seeing somebody go after the X Division, like you said. Dante Martin, that guy can fly higher than most people I've seen in professional wrestling. So he definitely be a sleeper pick for me. But again, we're going to have to wait and see. Fuego del Sol would probably be funny. I don't know anybody that's from Las Vegas that would be interested to show up. But I'm curious what others might say on the form I provided, because I'm definitely going to give them a shot to call their surprise and winner too. But again, we'll have to wait and see. All right. Moving on from there, let's go into a match that I feel like there is a lot on the line here, and I'm not just talking about the gold. Casey Lee, Jessica McKay, this is your trial by fire. What WWE did not let you show, you damn sure better show it here. I'm rooting for you. I don't necessarily in victory, but I'm definitely rooting for it in showcasing. The Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championships are on the line as Decay, Rosemary, and Havoc. Why Rosemary looks like Sue Young in this, I'll never know. Takes on, making their Impact Wrestling Tag Team debut, The Inspiration,
formerly known in WWE as the Iconics.
Damn right. Casey, I want you to talk about this match first. Give me your thoughts on this. Like you said, this is the Iconics, newly reinvented. The cuffs are off. This is the Inspiration. This is their return to professional wrestling. They're in the company that respects and defines women's tag team wrestling, and they want to define themselves as a tag team and want to push women's tag team wrestling forward. Your thoughts on this match?
You said it best for me. This is the trial by fire for the Inspiration. And if nothing else, they've got to deliver in-ring work rate. They've got to show what WWE never let them show. And I personally think they're pissed off enough at WWE that they are literally going to put on the match of their lives against Rosemary and I'm already blanking on the other one's name.
Havoc.
Thank you.
Okay.
Against Rosemary and Havoc tomorrow night. I don't necessarily see the tag team titles changing hands at this match, but the Inspiration are absolutely going to make their case, and it's going to be a damn good case.
Well, again, this company has been a founding pillar of women's professional wrestling, and nowadays women's tag team wrestling, bringing back the Knockouts Tag Team Championships. As we first saw Fire and Flavor win them, and they lost them shortly to Jordan Grace Richard Elming, who lost them back to Fire and Flavor, who, of course, Decay came together as a family now, and Havoc and Rosemary have a stranglehold in these tag team titles since, just coming off a victory against the Influences, Tenille Dashwood and Madison Rain. Slight update for y'all, by the way, about Tenille Dashwood being involved in the six-way intergender for the Digital Media Championship on the free show for Bound for Glory. That will be 9:30 p.m. Standard Time, I believe, on Fight and YouTube. Tenille Dashwood is out of the match. She has been replaced by Madison Rain. So you might want to rethink your picks there. But as far as that match goes, I got Chelsea Green all the way. Her husband's an internet champion, for Pete's sake. And Chelsea Green's everywhere. And I do love me a hot mess, but I digress. Anyway, as far as this match goes, again, I am pulling for the Inspiration to truly show what I know they're capable of. Been a fan supporter of them for I don't know how long. And it's one of those things where I look at, the work rate versus the outcome. The story, again, matters more than the result. But if it's their tag team debut, and pretty much Decay has beaten everybody else right now. And if the Inspiration can take this beyond here and raise women's tag team wrestling beyond, for the Forbidden Door, then I'm rooting for them to actually win the gold here. Again, it still stays in Impact Wrestling, but I feel with the Inspiration, it brings a whole new light to women's tag team wrestling, and definitely for them. So I'm just going to say it. I'm rooting for the Inspiration to win this thing. So there's that. That being said, we want to talk about women's professional wrestling. You got to talk about this one, especially with Long May She Reign, one of the top 5 in all of women's professional wrestling as defined by PWI Top 150. I'm still a little bit got thoughts on the top 5 and the way they organized it. I'm not going down that hole. I digress. But anyway, Diana Purrazzo defends the Knockouts Championship against her hardest challenger to date, Mickie James. And this has literally been set up since I saw Summiversary live when Hardcore Country invaded the Impact Zone. Now, I could talk about this match a lot, but it's not about me. It's about wrestling. And Casey, you might not keep up that much with Impact, but you damn sure know what it's about when it comes to these two and the Knockouts Championship. Your thoughts towards this and your pick.
After Empower was such a success for the NWA, Mickie James has a shit ton of momentum on her side coming into this match. She's cresting the biggest wave of her life coming into Saturday night's match. But if you count the Virtuosa out, you're doing professional wrestling as a whole a massive disservice. I honestly don't know if I can call this one. All I can tell you is it's a strong contender for match of the night.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and look at the legacy that is the Virtuosa, what she has become as we live through her era. Since the Virtuosa came into Impact Wrestling, she has not only been the top women's professional wrestler there, she has been pretty much, in my opinion, the top wrestler there for Impact Wrestling homegrown alone. Since winning this title off of Jordan Grace, having the first women's Iron Man match, successfully winning it back from Su Yung. The only blemish I might have pretty much in her entire Knockouts Championship history, and beating everybody on this roster from Neil Dashwood to, like I said before, Rosemary in 2 classics, I might add, and recently facing a trial by fire in defending this against the legend Melina, as you alluded to on Empower, and a Pick Your Poison match against the newly signed, congratulations, Masha Slemovitz, an incredible match in Knockouts Knockdown. This has become extremely personal, though, between Deonna and Mickie James, to the point Deonna has attacked Mickie on her own home turf. And then Mickie tried to do the same thing here, but Scott D'Amore, he put in a no-contact clause, which the Virtuosa and her Drama King, might I add, their homecoming king for Impact Wrestling, they tried to throw a curveball in there where they had Matthew Raywalt clothesline Mickie James. Bad move. As now it truly will be one-on-one, no outside interference, and no excuses. You win or you lose. It's as simple as that. As Matthew Raywalt, the Drama King, has been banned from the Bound for Glory, period, and ringside. So, with the fact we look at the dream match people want in this Forbidden Door era professional wrestling.
Can I just say really quick?
Go for it.
They banned Matt Raywalt from ringside. You didn't think about Simon Gotch, did you?
All right, don't go there.
I'm sorry. I loved the Vaudevillains in NXT. God bless that tag team. They got so royally flopped.
Yeah. That being
back on track.
Yeah, y'all good, brother. That being said, Mickie James, of course, as you alluded to, she's had matches with Kylie Ray back at NWA 73, and Deonna Purrazzo attacked her after that, thus furthering this whole conflict. And we just saw Mickie James overcome Savannah Evans in a Pick Your Poison match, pretty damn good match too, with that classic DDT that she has. And the chick can still kick.
Yep, yeah. The Mickie T, as we're calling it.
Yes, exactly. So, again, though, but I also figure about this with Deonna Purrazzo and the match that we want to see with her and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Do we want to see champion versus champion versus each other or together? Reports have been coming out that literally there's been talks of maybe even Deonna and Britt forming a tag team. That could be the ultimate women's professional tag team in this industry if that occurs. With a lot of suspension of disbelief and a lot of unknowns, except for one known thing here that we know is going to happen afterwards. Whoever holds the Knockouts gold has Mercedes Martinez next to challenge them for the title, because she won, of course, that tournament at Knockouts Knockdown. Congratulations to her. And I'm sure that's going to wear down on both these incredible female athletes too. One's a legend, one is a legend in the making. As you alluded to, this for me is an incredibly hard match to call, and honestly, it could be match of the night as well, because when it comes to Deonna Purrazzo, man, she is unmatched in female technical prowess at Impact Wrestling. I'm still waiting for her to face Serena Deeb. There, I said it.
Well, I was about to get to that because you had the key word there, in Impact Wrestling.
Yep.
You talked about the possibility of her forming a tag team with Dr. Britt Baker, DMD.
Don't forget it.
The only tag team I can see taking them on, and yet again, call me a mark, Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa.
I don't know if those two could ever get back on the same page, but I'm honest with you, based on the history of the NWA. And we also saw Thunder Rosa take on the Virtuosa, I did live, at Slammiversary, another incredible match too. There's so much promise, as always, with the Knockouts division. One of the leading women's divisions, professional wrestling on the planet since friggin' 2006, I think, if I'm calling my history correctly. But as far as this match goes, I praised it, I've analyzed it, I've talked about it enough. I'm just going to say this. She's the Triple Reinas de Reinas champion as well, and I'm sure Apache wants that belt back too. There's still, I feel like, a lot going after Deonna Purrazzo. And Mickie James, it's one of those things, okay, you come from the outside, but yeah, you're also former Impact as well. Do I see you having this title and leading this division forward to maybe raise the next top champion? But then I wonder, what the hell does Deonna do? Does she go somewhere else in the forbidden door and try and claim another piece of gold? There's a lot of unknown here. There's a lot of unknown here, but right now I'm going to say it. I can't go against the Virtuosa. As it said, long may she reign. Yes, I have Deonna Purrazzo somehow retaining this title in her toughest match.
That is absolutely fair, because here's the big thing you need to remember. Mickie James has had a long career for a reason.
Yeah.
But Deonna is also the Queen of Queens for a reason.
Damn right. Enough said. And congrats to her spot, by the way, in the top 5 of the PWI 150, along with Thunder Rosa and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and of course, Stardom's brightest star, Utami. And if you all are not watching Stardom and you want to see what professional wrestling is at its peak for women, go watch that promotion.
Stardom-world.com, people.
There you go. That being said, we go to a match of a similar identity, but maybe more so with a different peak of interest and I feel in-ring psychology to behold. Because, again, both men, tag team specialists, both men, major chip on their shoulders, both men, single main eventers in their own right. Both men have been champions. They've main evented special cards, pay-per-views. They've done it all. But it does come down to longevity, I feel like, and experience of the champion himself, Christian Cage, who's out to outwork everyone. As the Impact World Championship is on the line between Christian Cage and Josh Alexander because Josh cashed in option C. Casey, you and I briefly talked about this before we even went on the air, and I know you can talk a lot about this match when it comes to what to expect and what to think. But again, who is the guy that continues to be the face of Impact Wrestling? Is it the guy that's the veteran that's still on the outside, or is it the homegrown guy that is true Impact Wrestling and finally takes his spot at the top? Your thoughts on this match?
We got a barn burner on our hands, people. Christian Cage has been a legend in the professional wrestling industry for, almost 25 years now. I'm with you, EPW. I cannot wait for
I had to bring this up again. Because again, this is the match right here. This is your main event.
Take my fucking money. I am so ready for this. Both men Canadian born, both men out to prove a massive, massive point. Christian Cage out to outwork everybody. But Josh Alexander is a fucking monster in that ring. I went back and watched the Ultimate X that he won to get, I believe, to get this specific shot. And that man was scary with what he could do in that environment. I honestly can't go against him. I'm picking Josh Alexander to win this match.
Wow. All right. Let's go ahead.
Much love to Christian from a long-time peep. But it's time to let the homegrown boy have his moment in the sun.
All righty, let's go ahead and look at the story of this match then, as you subtly alluded towards the outlook and the preview. Well said. As we saw, Josh Alexander has been an incredible X Division champion for several months, beating the likes of Black Taurus, I saw live, beating, of course, Ace Austin, ELP, and countless others. But the final one that really defined that, okay, you own the X Division, you beat the best of the X Division, it's time for you to move forward, was Chris Sabin, who suddenly just whispered some sullenness to his ear. And we wonder what that was about. As we saw Christian Cage successfully defend this Impact World Championship, since winning it, I might add, off of Kenny, God, Omega at the first AEW Rampage, and bringing this title home to a degree to Impact Wrestling. He successfully defended it now against the most professional wrestler, Brian Myers, and Ace Austin. And now he faces his toughest challenger to date in this renewed invigoration of his career, with how much he caters towards this company and holds this title with so much pride and also so much vigor on his shoulder. Let's see here. Christian Cage since 2000 has been off the charts. 2021, quite the resurgence he's having. Indeed, it has truly been a resurgence since he's had this Impact World Championship. But again, Josh Alexander, who's coming off again the longest, most predominant tag team reign with the North after Ethan Page left ship, and becoming a standout singles top star in Impact Wrestling. You gotta wonder now, he did absolutely everything possible with what he could in the X Division. Is that enough to prove that you are worthy of being the face of Impact Wrestling and being their world champion? What started out as something that came down to respect with two great professional wrestlers has come down to downright anger at one another towards what both see each other as, but what both want to bring out in this match too, for themselves more than for the other. Christian Cage does not want to let go of this title. Josh Alexander believes that this title is not fully home yet and won't be home.
Of course he doesn't want to let go of this title. It's the first world title he ever won.
It is the first world title he ever won. Well,
technically, NWA World Heavyweight title is the first world title he ever won, but details.
Yeah, details still. I get what you're saying. And again, I look at this match, I think about what's left for Christian Cage to do in Impact Wrestling in this shared universe. But I also look at Josh Alexander. What does he have left to do, or what else can he do in Impact Wrestling? Not as champion, but also as champion. And could the Color Shot Gauntlet literally foretell the next challenger for either of these men? We've already seen Christopher Daniels come back to Impact Wrestling.
Oh my God, the thought just occurred to me.
Go for it.
You mentioned the North.
Yes, I did.
Can you imagine if Josh Alexander comes out of this champion and then along comes his former partner to challenge for the belts?
Ethan Page.
Josh Alexander versus Ethan Page. If James was here, he would splooge in his pants at the thought of that match.
Well, again,
Jesus Christ.
In the shared wrestling universe, nothing is impossible. Never say never. But if I have to pick somebody to win this match and hold the title, considering that the next challenger literally could come out of the Call Your Shot Gauntlet, and it seems that Christian Cage now, he's coming into here not as the humble man, but as the hungry man, might be slowly turning heel. I feel like
he's coming in here. He's coming in here as the hungry man. Is he the beer battered chicken and cheese fries, or is he the Salisbury steak?
I don't know. You tell me.
I'm sorry. I had to. It was right there.
I know. I curveball you freaking swing. That being said, I'm looking at
Christian Cage. Drive. Get out of here.
I've been saying that Moose is the uncrowned Impact World Champion, and how many times has he been involved in the title picture still? Josh Alexander, you are now in the top title picture, but I don't think you're going to get done on the first try, especially with how Christian Cage, literally, as Elizabeth alluded to, has had a resurgence in his career. I can't see him letting go of this now. I do have Christian Cage retaining, despite my entire AEW family going against me. Go watch the AEW video.
Yeah, well, you're talking about Christian Cage having a resurgence. The only thing I can see coming out of Bound for Glory is an emergence.
There's going to be surprises.
See what
galore.
I did there?
Yep. There's going to be surprises galore, and it's going to, of course, set up the next year of Impact Wrestling. Who will show up? Who will claim glory? Who will call their shot in that gauntlet? Same night or tease it later? Who awaits the Mercedes Martinez? And what is the future of the Impact World Championship? Baby. We'll have to wait and see.
Can you imagine?
I'm just saying. But again,
hey, I'm not opposed to it. Come on over, Cole.
Adam Cole, baby. With that being said, there's not much more to really say here. So that being said, just rambling right now because I'm tired. I am really looking forward to this pay-per-view. I cannot wait for tomorrow night. There's going to be at least 5 hours of nonstop professional wrestling galore, pay-per-view wise and TV wise, pay-per-view caliber. Casey, any further thoughts you have regarding Bound for Glory? We're just literally a little over a day away.
Glory is up for grabs, but glory does not come free.
Everyone's going to work for it. We're going to see who wants it the most, and that's the bottom line of that. All right. That being said, folks, that covers our main topics for tonight's special wrestling forum. I hope you all have enjoyed. Before we dismiss here, Casey, is there anything else in your mind regarding anything going on in the professional wrestling industry? I know we got Rampage tonight, got Dynamite tomorrow. Mission Pro has another show. GCW is coming up, and we got Nick freaking Cage versus Minoru Suzuki.
God help us all, I beg.
Yeah. We got also, of course, what else is happening? We got Power Struggle Sunday, card to be determined. NWW Strong, they have their Philadelphia shows coming up, of course, that are going to go all out extreme. We got, of course, Moxley and Kingston taking on Lance and Suzuki. I can't wait to see that. There's just so much going on right now, so much ambition, so much enjoyment, so much wonder. You don't know who's going to show up where, what's going to happen next. Any thoughts you have regarding anything coming up in all things wrestling?
Eat your heart out, sports entertainment.
Now, that being said, all right, let's go ahead and just briefly close with this tangent. Tonight is Rampage. The bracket's going to be showing up. Who do you want in it? 12 participants, 4 get first-round buys. Who is your key, let's just say, optimistic want to be TPS champion?
You got a hell of a pool to pull from.
Yeah, you do.
If you ask me, if I'm asked my opinion, I'm personally giving it to Brian Cage.
The botch, dude. TPS championship is women.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. I thought this was the second men's championship. My bad.
That's all right. But again, AEW is defining that identity to elevate their women's division even further now with a TBS champion ahead of them moving over to TBS. So we got a 12-woman bracket to come out and 4 first-round buys. I hope the bunny, yay, Allie, is in it because I feel that she deserves it. Don't judge me. And other key picks I'm thinking about, Thunder Rosa, Ty Conti, Sky Blue, Kylan King. I really want this to be like the ones that are up and coming and hungry, and a couple of great vets. Again, Allie, 16 years of in-ring wrestling experience. Ruby Soho, she basically matches that. We've seen Ruby Soho and Allie go at it. By the way, Allie, nice job matching SmackDown, surpassing them in viewership. That being said, yeah, who's your key picks that you want to see in this, or who's your key pick maybe even win this? Who you think should be the face of TBS for the women's division?
I'll tell you right now, here's the final I want. Red Velvet versus Hikaru Shida.
Oh, wow. Why do you want that final? That's a unique choice.
That and good God, those two will tear the house down.
I thought you were going to say they were going to kick each other's head off, but I like what you did there. Let's see what Sandy's got to say here. Jay Cargill about to make history with the first TBS champion. To me, she has it all.
Well, I mean, you have to. You have to if you're going around calling yourself, quote unquote, that bitch.
And wants to turn that title into that as well. And she's definitely been showcased as that. But here's the thing. Shout out to Jeff Meacham. She has been preserved as this incredible, dominant specimen of the women's division. Her matches are not that long. And as we learned, the TBS Championship matches will actually be part of Dynamite. This is not a YouTube thing. This will be literally showcased across their live TV process. I'm happy to see that some of them are really going to put a lot of investment into these women and into this tournament. So I'm very optimistic of this. It almost surprises me that Anna Jay basically will not be involved in it. I feel like, because again, she's literally facing Dr. Britt Baker, EMD, tonight. And I think we're setting up our next championship feud to come, and maybe even our next AEW Women's World Champion at the right time. Mark my words. Despite the fact Ty Conji, her best friend, shout out to Ty J, is ranked #1 currently in AEW. But I digress. All right. So some pretty interesting tangents there as we talk about AEW a little bit. Casey, anything further you want to talk about in all things wrestling before we conclude this fun little forum for the evening?
Full Gear about to steal the year again.
Do you think it could be the pay-per-view of the year?
With the way they seem to be building, I would not be surprised.
All right. That's a pretty
thing. And here's hoping I don't confuse FTR for the Young Bucks again.
I don't know how you made that confusion, especially Jay's marking out with them.
Short answer. The short answer. I was a little tipsy.
Oh well, then that will do it. That being said, it's going to be extremely interesting how AAA uses them as their tag team champions, considering they are the ultimate rudos, as James alluded to their style lucha libre, because they're no flips, just fists. Simple as that. I love their Midnight Express inspired theme. That is one of my favorite themes right now in professional wrestling. Just saying. All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for us here tonight. I think we covered a lot of ground with the biggest things to come out this week, and that was G1 Climax 31 and the biggest thing to come this week in Bound for Glory. And we gave some subtle vibes towards our interest and look into AEW's Rampage. And, of course, the foundation that will be their TBS championship. Who we want to see, who we think deserves it, who we might think's in it, what matches we might want to see. Just saying. Legitimately, the Hirsch versus Thunder Rosa. But I digress.
Do it now.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of matches that I could talk about, but I think right now we should just get some rest because we have 2.5 hours, a little under that, before Rampage comes on, and I like to get some rest in too because I like to be full of energy. And I also, of course, want to be prepared for my little talk on Turnbuckle Talk with, of course, the lovely Cindy G in our post-Rampage review. I have no idea how the hell we're going to handle Dynamite tomorrow night. If that's the case too. There's no way. Again, nonstop. As soon as 8 p.m. hits tomorrow night, buckle up, folks. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, it's going to be
amazing. That's all I got to say tonight as we conclude this forum. Thank you again for tuning in to this fun little simple wrestling forum. Casey, always a pleasure. Any last thoughts and where you want to plug and promote, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter. That's the easiest place, is at CTroop19. YouTube channel is Luke Lynch. Twitch channel is Luke 12 Lynch. And you can find me on this gentleman's channel tomorrow evening. We are bound for glory.
You're damn right. Bound for Glory on pay-per-view, October 23rd, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me say that again. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Good God almighty.
Gonna be a late night, boy.
Yeah. Looks like we got one last thing here. Professional Wrestling Noah. One more thing before calling it. Your reaction to Katsuhiko Nakajima being the GIC heavyweight champion and him defending against Masato Tanaka. Well, someone had to get the title off freaking Kaiji Muto. I mean, as shocking as it was and how great he was, I'm surprised that it wasn't freaking Marufuji. I'm probably screwing up the name. But as far as that defense against Masato Tanaka, I'm just going to say right now, I think Nakajima is going to retain. And shout out, of course, to Stardom, who I know is going to kick off their, if not already, their tag team format coming up soon as well. Again, so much things going on, all things wrestling, impossible to keep up with everything. But there you go, Sandy. Casey, go ahead and continue. Or were you done?
I was pretty much done.
Okay, well, again, my brain is literally falling out. So I figure I'll just say this, folks. You want to know more about me? And thank you for tuning in to those that did. Know this, I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of wrestling. So follow
in all its forms.
Pretty much. So follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at nfoster1916 for all things wrestling. And as I slowly alluded to, again, shout out to my ATW family on Twitter. Casey, you might as well be part of ATW at this point. You're a good-hearted man and a great professional wrestling friend and fan. I thank you always, good sir.
And I thank you for allowing me to be part of this family. Ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for us tonight. Just remember, from this point going forth from this stream, as we like to say to close out these shows, there are no winners, there are no losers, there are no betters, there are just fans with differing opinions for this passion we all share. So just support each other, just enjoy life, and enjoy professional wrestling. That's what we do, and that's what we're about to do for this whole weekend.
Well, at least Saturday, Sunday, I think I'm just going to sleep and not have my phone on. It's as simple as that for me. But again,
well, once you get out of church, get a little rest in.
Yeah,
Tetris bosses await us.
Oh, that's right. Well, yeah, I need rest to take on the Tetris bosses. That's going to be fun.
So I'll probably end up streaming that. So.
All right, I'd be happy to. FYI, he beat Marufuji, who best Muto back in June. Well, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you again, folks, for tuning in. We'll leave you to the rest of your night. Get some rest. Enjoy sports entertainment. That's what you enjoy. We don't judge. Just saying, not my cup of tea. And look forward to this Rampage, the craziest, fastest hour of professional wrestling every week, sometimes live, this week not. Every week, Friday night on TNT. But until next time, take care. Enjoy a lot. Tomorrow's there, guaranteed. Enjoy wrestling. JR, take care, sir. Get well. And we'll see you all next time. It looks like tomorrow night for more fun in all things wrestling as we bring you our live reactions and commentary and coverage too of Bound for Glory. Until then, take care, and I bid you all a fine adieu. Thank you for tuning in.
It's going to be an amazing weekend. It's an amazing time to be a fan. Simple as that.
I couldn't have said any better myself.